Hi, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome back to another episode of Pucks and Power Plays podcast, brought to you by Boston Sports Entertainment Network. You can find BSEN on YouTube at Boston Sports Entertainment Network. You can find them on Twitter and Instagram at BSEN_617 and on TikTok at _BSEN_617. You can find Pucks and Power Plays on social media at Pucks and PPs Pod. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads. You can find me. Hi, my name is Emily. You can find me at Hyper Emmy, wherever your little heart desires. And this is...
I'm Liz. You can find me at Liz__Frazier.
And we are back. It has been a crazy month. So I wasn't here the first week. Liz and Lainey held it down. They did awesome. Thank you, Lainey, for joining us the first week of November. The second week of November, we were off. I had a really big fundraiser. The first week was also Liz's birthday, so everybody say happy belated birthday to Liz. Or no, that was the second week. The first week was Jacob's birthday. The second week was your birthday.
The 10th was my birthday, so yeah, second week.
The third week, I'll let you say what happened the third week.
The third week, I'm actually going to pull him over because he's in the room real quick.
Hi, Jacob.
Emily said hi. I know you can't hear her.
Oh, you have headphones on.
Hello.
We got married.
Yay! Everybody say congratulations to Liz and Jacob. We're super excited. They got married last Monday. Oh, so exciting. And then during this time as well, podcast related, we have a new partnership, which we are super excited for. So we are now partnering with Just Strong, and Just Strong is a athleisure wear. Let me share my screen. I've got their website up. So they reached out to BSEN about a partnership, and we get to partner with them because we are the girls. Let me switch us. Doing lots of layout things today, guys. So I got a pair of sweatpants and Liz got a sweatshirt. I don't know about you, Liz, but my sweatpants are so comfortable. I'm obsessed with them. They're currently being washed right now. But they have so much stuff. They have leggings, shorts, sweats, sports bras, crops, tanks, accessories. They have a little bit of everything. Have you tried your sweatshirt yet? I'm
wearing it right now.
I love it. It's so great.
It's a little cropped hoodie. It is the cutest thing ever for running. So this is going to be fantastic.
Yes. I love their stuff. We do have a code that y'all can use. So Pucks103975 gets you 10% off of your order. We are super excited for this partnership. I'm obsessed with their stuff. It's really great. Thank you. And also I'm going to beat you in fantasy this week. Probably, honestly, Jacob, I continue to forget that I have a fantasy team. It's an issue. It's a big issue. One of these days I'll remember. But super excited for y'all. Don't mind me grabbing my charger really quick. Oh no. My parents are here this week and they're in my office. So we're making do in my room. Super great. We love technology. Yay. We're set back up. Okay. So, we do still have our merch. So Pucks and Power Plays Pod t-shirts and sweatshirts you can get on our website. But we're super excited to be adding this partnership in as well. Any other announcements? I think that was everything.
We have a Discord. We have book club there, trading cards. We can just talk hockey, podcast, whatever you want. We don't post the link publicly because Twitter bots are tons and tons of fun. So message us if you want to join or if you're interested in book club, because we do have a book to announce at some point.
I think I'm going to save it for December because there's only 1 week left of November. And I think I'm actually going to pick something that's Christmassy or holiday themed we had one picked out for November, and y'all, I had all these posts scheduled, and then I had no service when I was traveling for work the first week of November, and none of my scheduled stuff went out. So I love that so much. Didn't realize you had to have service. I thought like it was in the cloud. Like, you know that
Yeah.
it's in the cloud. I thought it was in the cloud. Apparently it's not actually in the cloud. Apparently I still have to have service in order for anything to post. So next time I'm in Estes Park, somebody else is gonna have to do the things. And then I just
for next time.
Life has been crazy. But yes, Discord. New book in December. All the fun things. Yay, holidays. I got my nails painted in my Christmassy theme. I think Thanksgiving is ridiculous. I think it's a silly day. So I am in Christmas mode. Today is going to be a fun episode because we've missed a lot of chaos over the last 2 weeks. And we have a special guest that's here to help us talk about all of the chaos because we can't do it on our own for this one, you guys. Too much has happened. I personally can't deal with it all. So without further ado, I'm going to bring our friend on. We have Seamus joining us today. We are super excited. And let me get the right background so you guys have all of his info. But Seamus, do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Before I do that, congratulations, Liz. That is amazing news. I did not know. So congratulations to you and Jacob. That's
Thank you.
So exciting. And congrats on the new partnership. That's great. I saw Emily, I saw that you had posted about that a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So really excited to be here for that announcement.
Thank you.
But yeah, my name's Seamus Sullivan. I currently work kind of doing a bunch of different things, really kind of new to this media thing, kind of jumped into it and just fully embracing it and taking any opportunity that I have. Currently a freelance writer for Causeway Crowd, starting to ramp up on that, get some Bruins writing going over there. But thanks to this lovely display, I don't even have to plug my socials. They're right there. So that's where you can find me. But yeah, just really excited to be here. At the beginning of this kind of journey getting into sports media and specifically the Bruins, I've always been intrigued by Bruins Twitter and specifically the female voices of Bruins Twitter, because I swear you guys carry it. So when I first started, I wanted to reach out to as many of the female voices on Bruins Twitter that there are and kind of get to know you guys and what makes you guys tick. So I'm really excited to be here. But just a shout out to all of the women on Bruins Twitter, because you guys make it tick. Yeah,
absolutely. It's really funny that you said that because I had somebody in my comments saying the opposite thing yesterday. So I love that. You know, the Twitter comments are always so fun. They're great.
Oh, is that the guy who made the comment that you shared? Like the weird homophobic comment at the same time while being like, I'm not homophobic.
And then ends it with like, I support all the LGBTQIA+. I was like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, there's so much negativity on there. So I figured I'd just scream into a microphone that I support you guys and I'm very excited to be here with you guys and just to all the women contributors on all the platforms. But Twitter specifically, there's so many just great, I don't know if you want to call them influencers, whatever. And it's just so great that you guys have really kind of built up a good platform. So again, I'm just so excited to be here.
Yeah, well, I personally appreciate that. And I'll speak on behalf of the pod-ish. But I think Liz and I would definitely agree with that sentiment. It is something that like we have really wanted to bring light to as well with our podcast and with our social media. It's something I think we see a lot on TikTok as well, of you have this insurgence all of a sudden of like women wanting to come to sports and whatever their reason is great. But I think creating a place where they can actually discuss it. And yes, we're always going to have those negative comments, but like, how can we make sure that they also feel empowered and emboldened to be knowledgeable? Like, how do we break things down in a way that they can learn as well alongside us too? So I appreciate that sentiment because I think there's been a really huge amount of women that have come on Twitter lately and just taken it by storm, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, episode 1 of the Winded podcast was actually Hannah Holland, Baby Bergie
Yes.
37. She
Yeah.
is amazing, does a great job. I know you guys are close with her.
Yeah.
Does a great job on all her platforms. Very talented.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to have her on. And then I'll call it episode 0 because it never aired, but it was kind of when I started this process of reaching out to the different women voices. Kaylee Allard, Tuka Rask on Twitter,
Yeah.
was the first person I spoke to, and she spoke to a lot of the different things that you guys deal with as women on there, but doesn't let it phase her, So I think
Yeah.
that that's a great message, and what you two are doing is great.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. Don't mind me. I'm emotional. It's fine. Oh, well, awesome. For those who have not heard your podcast before, what is your podcast about?
So I have not really found the exact lane that I'm going to go with. I'm just kind of winging it. Really kind of the flagship thing that really started the whole idea for the podcast. Every Thursday I do a show with my brothers and we each pick a leg of a parlay. We call it the Brothers Parlay. Doing horrible this year. We're doing really bad. But it's a great, for me, it's a great time to spend, an hour plus with my brothers every week. Life gets busy and it's, great to be able to connect, and it's talking like we would talk if we were sitting on the couch at home or if we were at a bar somewhere. So it's great to be able to do that. Outside of that, I just am interested in talking to interesting people. So I'm always looking to bring on different guests and talk about whatever their field of interest is. Sometimes it's hockey. Sometimes I had a guy who wrote a golf book. I spoke to a stand-up comedian a couple weeks ago. Just really anybody who has an interesting story to tell. And then outside of that, really haven't ramped up to it because it's been so busy these first, couple months of the season. But also do a Bruins show with my brothers and some of my brothers' friends. We call it the Big Bad Brothers Show. It's all under the Winded podcast, but we so you never know what kind of episode you're going to get when they come out. I try to be descriptive in the titles and the description. So if it's not something you're interested in, you can kind of skip over it. But I try to cover a lot of different things until I really hone in on what I want to talk about.
Yeah. I've listened to some of your guys' parlays and they're really funny.
Yep. It's true. And I think we need to be a little bit more real and talk to each other how we would. I think we kind of put on for the cameras a little bit and kind of are a little bit more respectful. So I think that we're going to, start to ramp that up and really start to act like brothers on there.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's great.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for listening. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I work remote, which is very great, but also sometimes I feel like I'm just listening to my own brain work sometimes if I don't have noise on. So I'm always looking for new stuff to listen to, especially during hockey season when there's just so much news all of the time. How do you stay on top of everything? So I have a rotation of podcasts that I'm always okay, when am I in the mood? What are my vibes today? What do I need in life today?
Mm-hmm. And then a car ride too sometimes, or just when you're on a walk, I'm I'll put in headphones real quick and just listen. I don't need to hear my own thoughts. They don't need to happen today.
Yeah.
No. Catch up with all of my friends. Even though most of the people I listen to have no idea who I am. They're my friends. It's fine. We're besties.
We're all friends. It's fine.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the sign of a podcast is when you kind of escape that reality and you feel like you're in the room with them and you're just, you're you don't have a voice in the conversation, but you're there just as much.
Yeah.
Me and my brothers were talking a couple weeks ago about the Zoom call that the 2011 Bruins did during the pandemic and how that was kind of one of the highlight moments of the pandemic. And I remember watching it on my laptop and since it was the whole Zoom format, I literally felt like I was there and just was on mute. And that was just truly one of the better things to come out of the pandemic was that Bruins Zoom call.
For sure. I love that. Well, oops, sorry. I just had all of my screens go like really big and then go really small. Speaking of the Bruins, let's chat about this team. Who's currently like, okay, let's start with some stats. They're currently 11th overall, 4th in the Atlantic. I want to talk real quick about these win streaks that we've had because we are all over the place. So here's our record for the year so far. 3 win streak, 6 loss streak. A win and then a loss. 7 win streak, a loss and then a win. 2 loss, 1 win, 1 loss. Like, we were doing great and then we're not. And then we're doing great and then we're not. And now we just had like 17 injuries and Beecher's gone. And we have like a whole different roster than we had 2 weeks ago. Hello, chaos. Hello, Boston Bruins hockey. I'm so glad that we're all in this together. You never know what to expect from a Boston Bruins season.
It's a flip of a coin, honestly, what team we're going to get with how inconsistent they are. It's like, oh, we're playing today or we're not playing. There's like no in between anymore.
They truly are like their New England weather. They are just, if you're unhappy with it, wait 5 minutes and it'll change. You know, if you don't like what you saw last night against San Jose, well, you're probably going to love what you see against the Islanders or whatever. You never know. It could change just like that. And the team, the way they show up, and it truly is, it's frustrating to watch because you see the good and you see the potential, and then they go out and then they get 7 penalties in a game, and it's just insane.
Yeah. Well, and then you have, like, and I don't mean this in a negative way against Geeky, but you have Geeky being the star of the season, which is great. I love that for him. We saw huge growth and development for him last year. We saw him, like, you saw Brett trash him on Twitter, and then all of a sudden he started doing great. I think Brett will forever be credited to him getting his life in order in my brain, but that's just me. But you had him pick up towards the end of last season. We were unsure, or at least Liz and I talked about it over the summer, that we hope that kind of continued into this season. But he's really hit his stride and he's doing great. And then you have some players who aren't as consistent, I would say. And then you have like Z. I love Z, but he shows up for one game and then the next game it's like, okay, what are you doing? Or Lowry, like, just can't seem to get it together. And especially when we're in a time where we have so many injuries, like we can't afford to have all of that happening amidst all of the injuries, which shout out to Charlie McAvoy. We hope he is doing well. It looks like he had some surgery. He's expected to be back for the Olympics. We'll see how that plays out. It also sounds like his son may have had something happening. So well wishes to his little kiddo as well. We hate to see that. But it seems like everybody's on the mend in the McAvoy house. So fingers crossed there. That must be really frustrating for him 2 seasons in a row. But we can't afford, when we have big players like Charlie out, to have all of this wishy-washiness in the rest of the team that we are seeming to have yet again.
Yeah, the Bruins don't have a ton of depth, and they're very top heavy with the talent. Like, it is McAvoy, it's obviously Pasternak and Geeky, Swayman, obviously, but once you get past those stars, it really starts to drop off. They're not one of the better constructed rosters. They get effort from everybody, which I love, and they play with heart and they play hard, and there's, each guy can have a good night. But once you get past those top guys, being without any of them, this team doesn't have the depth to be able to hold, especially, losing McAvoy is devastating because he was playing so well. And, he obviously was up and down, but he had kind of figured it out. He was playing well with the new pairings and stuff. So to see him, especially to take a puck to the face like that is just brutal.
Yeah, I wasn't watching the game, but somebody had sent it in a chat, had sent the video before I had like seen it on social media. I was not prepped for watching that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was prepped for watching that. It was rough. That's crazy.
And then seeing like the zoomed in version of it too afterwards, I'm like, I didn't need to see the moment the tooth left his mouth and ended up on the ice. Like, I didn't need to see it fly out.
Yeah. No. Seamus, did you, prior to the season starting, have the Bruins making playoffs in your mind?
I actually did. And I kind of really am not surprised by how the season has gone. I really thought that it would be up and down, but all of my, putting all my stock in them making the playoffs was heavily reliant on Swayman bouncing back, Elias Lindholm, kind of starting the season the way he finished last season, and obviously how he played over the summer, Pastrnak being Pastrnak. So it was really all on the top guys.
Yeah.
And they've kind of met those expectations. I think, I'd like to see a little bit more out of Swayman. He's obviously better than last year, but he's not as good as he was 2 years ago. So if he could get back to that and the star players continue to be the stars that they are, there's no reason why they shouldn't be a playoff team, even as poorly as the roster has been constructed.
For sure. No, those are great points. Liz, I think you also had the Bruins making the playoffs because I think I didn't and I think you did. How do you feel about how it's been?
I had them like just making it in as like wild card number 2, being the top wild card, and then for a while second in the East or Atlantic. It was like, okay, this is not at all what I expected. Like the losing streaks, fully expected that. Did not expect a 7-game win streak out of this team, especially with half of the injuries happening during that time too. Like it was so much all at once. So for all of it just to kind of continue, it's been surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think actually I said no that Bruins were not going to make the playoffs. Specifically because like the opposite of what y'all are saying. Like I was saying that we couldn't rely on these top guys because just the way the season went last year, we had such strange injuries happen. Like last season just ended up being very weird. This season again is ending up with strange injuries. So that was my perspective, was we weren't going to make it because we couldn't rely on these guys. Which again, Geeky has been great. Like Pasta is still great. I think I actually haven't looked at his stats over the last few weeks, to be honest. But he's been great. I think Zadorov has been great. I've been saying give him the A for the last 6 months. So to see him get the A last week, I'm like, hell yes, let's go. Elias Lindholm had another injury, which we knew at the end of last season. We found out that he had an injury to start last season as well. I feel like we're having a repeat of last year's injuries. Like everybody that was injured last year is injured again this year, which I hate. I am pleasantly surprised by Corpy most nights. I definitely was a doubter over the summer. I'm glad to see that he is being relatively more consistent than I was expecting. Also, that goalie split is different than what I was expecting as well, but I'm glad to see it's working out for everybody.
Yeah, I think the goalie split is to kind of keep Korpisalo engaged and involved, because over the summer it seemed like he was very unhappy at what his potential role was going to be.
Yeah.
So, especially early in the season when they went to him pretty early, and you were like, I think he started the second game of the season, and it was like, oh, this is going to be a thing. And I was happy just because I think Jeremy Swayman obviously hasn't proved that he can do the full load all the way through.
Yeah.
So I think the backup goalie is very important. Some teams it's not as important. For the Bruins, it kind of historically always has been important. I think even with Vezina winning goalies, you've had a very, very above average, reliable backup goalie. So I think that's important. So I'm happy that they've given him the opportunity to get out there and feel like he's involved,
Yeah.
because you don't want him to be disgruntled and go out there, and it's such a mental part of the game having the goalie. So I think, I'm pleasantly surprised with him as well, and I think that it's because of the role that they've given him.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sorry, my cat is trying to escape my bedroom. She's stuck. It sucks to be her. I agree. I think it was a conversation Liz and I definitely had over the summer was, okay, if he doesn't get more of an even split, is he asking for a trade come trade deadline, even though Liz, he has a no trade clause for some teams?
I'm going to pull it up. I think he does. I was looking at his stats, though, already for this season. He has played, because I did the math quickly, like 37.5% of the games already. And he was the first goalie to basically have a back-to-back this season, if I remember correctly, because he played, I want to say it was a Thursday, and then he played the next game on a Saturday. And I find it's very interesting that they gave it to him first over Sway.
I didn't realize that. That is interesting. You wouldn't expect that to be the case.
Yeah. I don't know that I realized that either.
We were just looking at the lines, and I was like, that's Corpy 2 games in a row. That's weird.
That's super interesting.
I do think that the Marco Sturm element of it, and I think he's making everybody earn everything, which I think is good for a team that was as bad as they were last year. They're they're so far removed from that President's Trophy a couple years ago that they don't have the leg to stand on to be entitled to anything. They haven't earned any of it. So I think it's good for him to come in and be a respected voice that kind of demands that they prove, and earn everything. And I think that might be an example of it.
100%. And I think, thanks, Dad. I think like he's not afraid to call people out. Like Mason, as much as I love him, has deserved the call outs that he has gotten during press times. He's been sat a few games and then he comes back even better. Like I think Mason also needs that. I think Sturm also understands like his players. He wouldn't do that to somebody if he doesn't think they could handle it. I think we saw that happen a lot with what just happened with John Beecher, intentional, like getting put on waivers with the intention of being sent down to AHL, didn't make it, got picked up by Calgary, played the next day with Calgary. We are very sad personally to see Johnny Beecher go. I find it interesting that they were sending him down to Providence. And this is like always my thing is like, we're not in the locker room. Like we're not in all of the practices. Like, yes, we can go to open practice at Warrior, but we're not in the room all of the time. We only see what happens at Warrior or during a game. So I'm sure there were other conversations and other things that contributed to that we weren't a part of, because he wouldn't have done that if he didn't think that Beecher was buying in, which continues to be his message is people are going to play if they buy in. Everybody needs to buy in. If you're not bought in yet, I'm going to call you out and you're going to sit. And that's going to be that.
Yeah, I think the fact that they didn't even try to shop him around is interesting.
Yeah.
That it almost seems like they were just done and they wanted to put an end to it because they knew that he would be claimed. There's no way they thought he was. They didn't think he was going to get through and go down to Providence. So the fact that there wasn't
like
any
4
effort.
different teams that were interested in him.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is interesting that they didn't try. They clearly just wanted to put an end to it because they probably, who knows what they'd get back and salary and everything. It probably is better for the future roster management and money wise to just let him go. But, the fact that they didn't even try to do anything, I think shows that they just were done.
Yeah. They also had him on like a make it or break it contract too for the past season that they signed him to.
Yeah.
So I remember we were talking about it. Like his contract very much screamed, you have to prove yourself this year or you're not staying. And I think not buying in, especially with the fact that he did get called out after Calgary picked him up, kind of just highlights that he didn't buy in as much as other players. And again, we don't know what goes on in the locker room, but like I went to practice earlier this season, and after practice, when it was over, they had 3 guys that ended up staying on the ice to keep working with all the coaches. And it was 2 of our guys that were being benched actively and not playing. And then instead of Beecher being the 3rd guy, it was Mitten who ended up staying on the ice, which was really surprising. Because I was like, if everyone's working with the coaches to stay in the lineup, and more than half of them are the guys not playing, why is the other guy not playing, staying out there to keep working?
Yeah. Yeah, he was signed to a 1-year $900 contract, $900 if only $900,000 contract over the summer, and is a restricted free agent. Yeah, I do remember that conversation. We definitely said that it was a make it or break it contract. I still think that was very interesting. Like, I think you're right, Seamus. They had to have been just like, okay, we tried. We gave you all the tools that we could have. Because I just don't see Sturm also being somebody that would give up easily. Like, having been a Bruin, being an AHL head coach, like knowing the work that goes into the AHL, like knowing that one thing that we talk about a lot is that Providence has such a great development route that we've seen guys go down and they come back up a completely different player after a few weeks. At least last season, that was our opinion. Even this season, I think it too. But knowing that we have like a really great program in Providence, but like Beecher was never going to make it to Providence. There was 4 teams, I think, rumored to be interested in him. So like, I also found that very weird that they would go that route.
Yeah, because I mean, he was claimed by Calgary, who is towards the bottom of the league, so he didn't make it very far.
Yeah. Well, and then, yeah. Ugh, I have big thoughts and opinions. I haven't been able to talk about this for 3 weeks, y'all. Like, barely been on social media. I've been too busy to say all my thoughts and feelings. I think on the opposite side of that, though, we mentioned Geeky a little earlier. He is currently tied for first place for goals in the entire NHL.
I was hoping, that he wouldn't have that step back year after getting the money. I know that a lot of people didn't really want to pay him. The Bruins didn't really have any option but to keep him. I mean, imagine this team without him this year.
Oh.
So they really were forced to. And so it'd be tough to regret it either way, even if he wasn't doing what he did, because they needed it. But he has exceeded what I was expecting from him. And I thought he would have to be a big key to have any success. So for him to be at any point leading in goals, especially, as we get to Thanksgiving, it's crazy to see.
So crazy. Well, and to be ahead of Pasta is interesting. Pasta is tied for 5th in points. It's like a 3 or 4-way tie currently for points in the league. But I agree. It was like, we paid all this money, and Liz and I said it about Corpy last year and Elias Lindholm. We paid all this money. Hopefully this pays off. I'm glad this is paying off. He also, I feel like the fans have taken really well to Geeky, which I think helps as well. But I'm excited that he is doing well. And it was not who I expected to be in the standings for representing Boston up there, but I'm glad we've got somebody up there. Yes. Doing great. And with that, our power play is 4th in the league. Where did we end? Like 27th or something at the end of last season, and now we're 4th this season?
28th, I want to say. We were in the bottom 4.
Yeah.
Maybe 29th. Somewhere 28, 29. We kept flip-flopping.
Yeah.
They must have taken the clipboard away from Chris Kelly finally and given it to somebody else.
Hallelujah.
Thank you to whoever did it.
Whoever took it and whoever's holding it now, I am very grateful because it was painful to watch last year. And on that, I mean, the fact that they're in the top third of both special teams categories, but yeah, the power play, very, very pleasantly surprised at that.
Yeah.
Because that was low.
Yeah. Well, even our PK was like 21st or 20th or something like that, to like mid-range to end the season last year. We're at 11th in the league for the PK.
Which is important considering how many penalties they're taking as the most penalized team in the league.
Yeah.
Why can we not escape that new statistic? Why is that our legacy? I'm over it.
I'm blaming everyone. I'm going to blame Zadorov's quote about how he watched the 2011 playoffs and was like, we want to play like that team. And I'm like, do you know how penalized that team also was? Maybe don't.
Yeah, that's why that game 7 against Tampa was so insane that there weren't any penalties on either side. One of the best hockey games ever played. No penalties. But yeah, the fact that they are the most penalized team, averaging 5.2 penalties a game. Imagine how good that PK would be if they were rested. If they weren't, if they were out there 2 or 3 times a game instead of 5.
If only. They need to get it together. Well, and sometimes it's just like sloppy playing. It's not the fighting, although the 10-minute misconduct against Corrali like 2 games ago was dumb. But some of them are just like sloppy stick handling and sloppy just like stuff that they have control over. Listen, they also have control over fights, but like not all the time. But just like sloppiness that, and like that is so easy to not be penalized for some of this stuff. And you're wasting your efforts.
Marco Sturm last night said that it was, not moving your feet. And then he called it a little bit of stupidity, which I love how he tells it like it is. And I know Cassidy did that too, and it rubbed people the wrong way. I think, with this new wave of, it's a complete roster turnover. I think they've gotten rid of all the babies on the team from a couple of years ago that didn't like the mean coach. So I think that they have a locker room that can handle the harsh words of Marco Sturm. But to call your basically say your players are playing stupid and not be, say it right into a camera so they know they're going to hear it. I think is great. And that's really what it is. It's stupid. They're making stupid, lazy plays. And that's what's costing them games at this point with, all those penalties. Because a team like San Jose, you can't give them power plays. They're too young and talented and fast. They're not the best team top to bottom, but you give them those opportunities with the man advantage, especially a 5-on-3 that, somehow they were able to kill. But you give them those opportunities, the momentum and everything that goes into it, you're going to have a tough time winning games.
For sure. Especially San Jose. They've got stars. They know how to make moves. We've seen it time and time again. Like, they may lose games, but they are making plays and they are making it happen. They just can't connect all the dots every time, which is frustrating watching them play. But it's frustrating losing to a team like that because we've seen a 7-game win streak, which I found it interesting that the 2 times at the beginning of the season that we had like a break in the streak, it was the Senators were breaking our streak and then we went back to winning. But when you have a team like San Jose that we're losing against and you're like, what are we doing? Just get it together. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes of just playing because I know you're capable of it. Like, we have a talented team. They're just not being talented together correctly all the time.
Well, just think of how much more of a positive outlook you'd have on that California road trip if they were able to get even a point out of that game yesterday. Never mind 2. It's a whole different mentality coming back. they'd be top of the division. I know they've played a couple extra games, but Thanksgiving's on Thursday, and we talked about it before we came on, how important, everybody talks about it. It's almost the cliche of the NHL now is the importance of the standings at Thanksgiving. But 75% of the teams that are in the playoff picture at Thanksgiving end up being in the playoffs, when the spring comes. So it is important because 75%, and that's 20 years of data to back that up. So it's not some fluke one-off stat.
I'll keep that thought internal. I'll keep that thought to myself. I'll just. I don't know if I want to say that out loud right now.
It sparked for a moment. It tried to come out.
Yeah. When I remembered this is on YouTube and it'll live forever. So yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks as I'll keep that to myself. Liz, do you say something? I'm gonna keep that thought internal.
Okay. I think it helps that we have both Lindholms again, hopefully happy and healthy for forever, because of course we get Hampus back and then immediately lose Elias 2 games later, because we can't have more than one Lindholm healthy at a time apparently.
Never.
God forbid.
Both of them are so essential to the team. Our record with Hampus in the lineup, one, absolutely insane what he does to the team. But also looking at Elias and the fact that all 4 of his goals have come on the power play this year too. He's really the best guy for our power play right now, honestly. Besides Pasta, who's at 5 goals. But that's Pasta. He's a different story. Yeah. It's the 2 Lindholms are kind of just making everything click and work. So having both of them again is very, very nice.
Yeah, and
speaking of the power play, what do you think has been the game changer there? Is it having both Lindholms back? Is it, we have Charlie out again. We all know how I feel about Charlie McAvoy being the quarterback of a power play. But what do you think is the difference between last year's 29th ranked and this year's 4th ranked?
Hampus and Hampus alone. I mean that so nicely. It is not just on him, but I think it changes who we have on the unit and actually gives us a proper power play with who we have. And yes, we know how we both feel about McAvoy on it, but it works occasionally when we have Hampus as well, and with the team clicking a lot more this year than they did last year.
Yeah.
There's more structure with it too.
I think they just have a good vision, and they see it seems like they're seeing the ice differently than they did last year. You could even see it, in the early games of the year, even in the losing streak, where it would be weird bounces, but the thought was there, and you could see what they were trying to do, and it's stuff that they weren't doing last year. So I don't know what kind of coaching they have behind the scenes, what they're seeing, what kind of film work they're doing, but there's something in the vision of what their approach is that's just completely different from last year.
Yeah. Well, and even with such a different roster than we started with last year, it makes it even more interesting to me, because I think one thing that always gets talked about with the Bruins is, we're one of the original 6 and we have this great organizational structure and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, well, our organizational structure is not that great if we can have a year like 2023, 24, and then the next year is what it was. You can't get rid of 2 players that, yes, were really great and had a really great impact in that offseason, and then be like, oh, but, the organizational structure is there. Okay, well, it's apparently not if 2 players were the make or break for our team. So I do wonder if it is something that is different we talked a lot over the summer about this coaching style being something different, and being more defensive minded is something different than we've seen with this team recently. But I mean, you have an entire different roster. So it has to be, the buy-in, or there's something different behind the scenes for sure that is making a difference. I mean, we also have half of a new coaching staff. We had kept the coaching staff relatively the same, just a new head coach kind of changed out. So I wonder what that magic piece is behind the scenes that's definitely making an impact on the ice.
Yeah, maybe it's that whatever executive ambassador position that they gave to Chara, having more of those guys around, the Bruins alumni that they have and those guys being in the building means something. There's a lot of places they just kind of are figureheads or whatever. In all sports, they always kind of pay guys to stick around and really not have like any sort of real responsibility, but to just be like a true ambassador for the team.
Yeah,
But,
like Pat Maroon and Tampa Bay Lightning right now is kind of doing
Is he
that.
there?
I'm like, what is happening? Yeah, he's posting about Tampa Bay stuff. I'm like, you haven't played for them in like 4 years, brother. What is happening?
Yeah, so somebody like Chara, you couldn't pay him to half-ass anything. So whatever he's, I am gonna when they announced it, I said that it would be very important for the season, and I'm gonna hang my hat on that. There's something he's a part of this in some way.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a great point. And then to tie it back to Liz, what you said earlier about Zadorov had been watching the 2011 Bruins. I wonder if there is something there. And we've heard rumors of like Tuukka Rask hanging around a little bit more. I assume because Chara's in the building more, him, Rask, and Berge are maybe like, what's happening? What you doing, buddy? But I assume like, those are guys that not just the Bruins look up to, but like the entire league looks up to those guys. So I wonder if there is something between the two of those. I wonder if Z was just like brown nosing and watching the 2011 Olympics before he got in a room with Chara personally. But I wonder if there is something there. I mean, listen, if I'm standing in front of Chara, I'm definitely going to do some research before I'm in meetings with him.
Oh, yeah. And then with him also working like with the NHL team, but then also going down and working with Providence as well, I feel like that also helps with the structure when guys get called up and are actually making an NHL appearance because they know what's expected of them.
Yeah. We've had some interesting call-ups so far this year. I don't know how I fully feel about it yet, but we'll see. I'm always down for Callahan being called up. I will always take Callahan being called up. Some of the other call-ups, I'm like, this feels so random. But I feel like they've worked out better than previous years. So.
Well, they got to be careful with who they call up because they don't want to mess up the mojo that they have down there. That team's a wagon in the AHL. We might our best chance of a cup around here might be the Calder Cup. So don't want to mess with the Providence Bruins too much.
Which is so funny because for years it felt like we just, not that we like didn't care about Providence, but we didn't put much stock in creating a winning AHL team. Feels like the past maybe 4 to 5 years, it's like, oh, we could actually do something with these guys instead of just like having them hang around. I think last year was a great season for Providence. I think one thing we always talk about is like, you can see a difference between these players when they come up. They go back down for a few weeks. When they come up, it is completely just elevated so much in everything that they're doing. So whatever they're doing down there, it's working. It's great. I'm here for it any day of the week.
It'll be interesting to see, like in the years to come, how they utilize Providence and how they develop Providence, having Marco Sturm as the coach because of his ties to the AHL and how, he obviously, more than coaches who spend most of their time in the NHL or are so far removed from their AHL roots that they kind of lose the connection to it. I'm interested to see how much importance and stock he puts in and his fingerprints are on the AHL program.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's why we care more about it this year too. Like we're actually investing in them.
No, that's a great point and a perspective I hadn't considered. And I wonder the opposite as well. I wonder if it's part of why we hired him is because like he understands that system so well. He understands like we always heard from Montgomery, like, I don't have a say in who gets pulled up. Even last year, I mean, we heard it so many times. He didn't have a say. I wonder if Sturm having a better idea, maybe he does have a little bit more of a say, or he just has a better understanding of how it works. But I wonder if that did contribute to his hiring. I mean, it's working. Everybody's having a great season so far.
Mm-hmm. And then with some of his comments, he's definitely made it sound like he does have a say. Like going back to when Beecher got waived, he definitely made it sound like he had a lot of influence there as well.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits of having a guy like Sturm that he came in and he had credibility right away. He's known around here. So his word as a rookie head coach carries more than a rookie head coach that walks into a situation that is completely different. So, and I want to take credit for the Marco Sturm hire because I was the first person to actually write about Marco Sturm and how he should be the Bruins coach. So I think that Don and Cam are Causeway Crowd readers, and they read my piece back in, I think maybe April, that said that Marco Sturm should be the next head coach. So I'm gonna take a little victory lap on that one.
Check in the mail somewhere that's getting lost on its way to you, obviously.
Yeah. Marco, I know this is your favorite podcast, so you're welcome.
The season tickets are coming to you for this season.
Yes. No, that's so funny. I love it. I am definitely interested to see what happens with the rest of the season. Do you guys both still believe that they're making playoffs at this point? Especially we've talked a little bit about it being Thanksgiving this weekend. 75% of teams that are in playoff standings at this point tend to make it. What is your guys' opinion on, 30 games or not 30 games from now? That's really bad math. Wow. 60 something games from now.
I would say it's all dependent on health. And I know, Liz, you really went into that and how you both have actually about how important the health is to this team. If they can limit the bleeding on the health and the injuries and everything, if they can keep it about what it is now and not get any worse than this, there's no reason why they shouldn't be a playoff team. They're in it as of now. The game against the Islanders, I think, if they can win that, that would really lock up, their potential to be in that 75% that, makes it. But I see more. I don't see them being streaky again. Like this, I don't see another 6-game losing streak, and I don't see another 7-game winning streak. I think it's going to be a, win 2 of 3, win, maybe 3 of 4, like kind of those things, maybe lose 3 of 4 kind of. I think it's going to be up and down. It's going to be a battle all the way through to the end. But I think, health permitting, I think that there's no reason why they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I definitely think still bottom wild card. Like they're gonna slip in as long as they stay healthy. Like we can't afford to like suddenly lose half our team. But if maybe just keeping it, like you said, to like what it's at now. So if it's just one injury, it's just one injury and we stay with that, they should be fine to make it in. We definitely do need other guys producing though, because again, you can't, as much as happy as I am for him, you can't have Morgan Geekie leading your team in goals and being ahead of Pasternak by 6 goals. Like, he should not be the highest, and then your next highest should not be Arvidsson with 6.
Wait, I didn't realize that was the next highest. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled up the stats. We have, it's Geekie with 17, Pasta with 11, and then Arvidsson with 6 goals. So we need more goals from more players. We can't just rely on 2 of them.
Yeah, hopefully with Lindholm back. That is crazy. That's such a huge drop off.
That's crazy. Wow. I don't know how I feel about Arvidsson. I don't know how I feel about Jeannot still. I don't know. I've got mixed feelings on them. We'll see. We'll see where they go for me here. But I potentially agree with both of you. Just big coming from somebody who 4 weeks ago, not 4 weeks ago, my math is really off tonight. Wow. Like 12 weeks ago, was saying we wouldn't make the playoffs. I think this team has maybe proved me wrong. I think health is definitely going to be a factor. I agree. I don't think we're going to have this many streaks. I think it's going to be more small ups and downs from here on out. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Like, I'm also fully expecting to be disappointed by this team. I don't think we're going to have a big trade deadline this year, though. I think that will be relatively a little bit more normal. But I think it'll also maybe depend on where we're at in 3 months on how that goes, which it's crazy that we're already it's just crazy that we're already at the end of November. Just in life in general. Like, I don't know how we got here.
Yeah, I don't think on the trade deadline, obviously that's a ways away, but I can't see them being too significant of buyers. I don't think that they'll be in any position to do that. And I don't want them to give up any of the assets they accrued last year, because there's really no move that they could make that would make them that much more of a contender to win a cup this year. Which is, it's so frustrating to be. We're used to the deadline is like Christmas, and it's you're excited and you want something, and maybe it's just the maturity and maybe I'm like, no, let's just hold off, and just I don't trust the guys that are making the decisions to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I think looking back, I think last trade deadline, really all of those moves really were the right thing to do, as hard as it was to see Marchand go, Coyle, Carlo, like everybody going. I think it was the right move to kind of build for the future. And I don't want them to ruin that just a year later and not have much to show for it.
Yeah. And there's nobody, when I look at our current roster, there's nobody that I'm like, they're dead weight, get them out of here. Like, everybody's having their peaks and valleys right now. There's nobody that maybe Mason Lowry could step up a little bit more. But there's nobody that I'm like, get them off of this team before I die, please, somebody.
Yes, which is good.
Yeah. Hopefully that holds.
Please stay that way.
I had a question for you guys on McAvoy. Yeah. They keep saying the Olympics. The Olympics is kind of like the target date.
Yeah.
How important is it to you guys to see him play in the Olympics, or if that's rushing back to get there? Like, would you have any sort of feelings about that? Would you rather him sit out the Olympics and come back? Because I kind of have mixed thoughts on it. Like, obviously, if the season's lost, seeing him play for USA would be huge. But at the same time, like, I don't want him to come back and have a Four Nations again where we lose McAvoy because of something that had nothing to do with the team. So it's tough.
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat of having mixed feelings. And I think part of it for me as well is knowing that his injury happened at Four Nations last year, and then he missed what could have potentially been a run for playoffs. So I would hate, like, for him already being named to the Olympics to then have to miss the Olympics. From purely like a selfish Bruins standpoint, I don't care about the Olympics. If we're in a good spot, I'd rather have him healthy and come play for us. And then I think it's already in the CBA that NHL will be back at the Olympics in 4 years. Now, we can't guarantee that he'll be in the same spot and blah, blah, blah. Health, life of an NHLer, all those things notwithstanding. Yes, it'd be really cool for him to have an opportunity to play in the Olympics. But if I'm talking from a strictly NHL point, I'd rather I just had this conversation with my mom yesterday, actually. I'd rather he be ready and playing for the Bruins. And I also worry that he's not going to be ready. I think this of like the Kachuk brothers as well. Like, are we rushing these guys back so that they can play in the Olympics? And I know there's so much money already spent in the Olympics and in sponsorships and all of this stuff, but like, are we rushing all of these injuries back just so that we play well in the Olympics because we've already spent money having said that these guys were named to the team?
Mhm.
So yes, and
Yeah, no, it's tough. I'm actually curious. I just had this thought that what if his timetable is slightly sooner, but he wants the extra rest for the Olympics so he doesn't come back and get hurt, 2 weeks before? Like what if the Olympics was put out there as that's when he'll be long good by then? Like what if he'd be ready, a couple weeks before that, and he doesn't want a chance playing for the Bruins and get hurt and miss the Olympics? That's
I feel
a
like it
conspiracy
depends
in me.
it would depend on
Yeah.
how long it is. Because if it's like a whole month before, you have to play for your team at that point. Because I'm like you guys. I'm like yes and no with him coming back for the Olympics because everything's set around the Olympics that it's like, is he just going to be ready? Because if he's just going to be ready, he needs to rest. Which is why it's like, okay, if he's ready maybe a week before the Olympic break or 2 weeks before it, I'm totally fine with him taking his time and sitting at home and resting to make sure he's fine and healthy, because that's such a big thing we've talked about is how guys are like, okay, you're good on Monday, and they immediately play on Monday and they don't take the extra time to make sure they're actually okay and everything's fine within like with themselves mentally, with their bodies physically. I feel like that's a big thing that they need to consider. So like if it's a week or two before, sit out and make sure you're fine and you're not gonna like die immediately when you step on the ice.
Yeah. Ugh, it's so hard. And like from a business standpoint, I understand why the NHL doesn't want these guys playing in international competitions mid-season. Like, you had so many top guys last year that became ineligible for the rest of the season because of Four Nations. I totally understand why the NHL doesn't want to. But at this point, so much money has been put into it from a business perspective that, like, okay, you're going to cost Team USA a crap load of money because you've been promoting this for the past 6 months. Now, I don't really care. They have money to spend. They're always going to have money to spend. The NHL and Team USA have buckets of money. They're doing fine. But I think it's going to be for all of these teams that have guys that are injured and coming back for the Olympics. I think it's going to be really interesting. It reminds me of Hampus Lindholm last year, even though he wasn't playing in Four Nations. Like, his injury was always, okay, by Four Nations, he'll be back. By Four Nations, he'll be back. And then he didn't end up coming back. He was supposed to, and then it wasn't ready. And then he was supposed to, and then he wasn't ready. And then we weren't making playoffs, so there was no need to push. So I hope it's not something like that at the same time that, like, I mean, it's his jaw and his face, so it's like not as impactful maybe to his game, but for life that feels pretty impactful. I'm going to be interested to see how that kind of goes.
I feel like there's going to be a mental hurdle to get over. I mean, just taking a puck to the face is going to be, it's to get right back in there and stand there. And, I'm curious to see when he does come back, what kind of, if he'll wear any sort of face protection or anything along those lines, and getting used to that. Cause, most guys, when they have these devastating injuries, they're not all machines like Zdeno Chara who could break his jaw and be back out there with just a plastic shield 2 days later. But, it'd be interesting, the mental hurdle of like, is he flinching in front of the net? Is he less likely to block shots? Is he, whatever. It's a whole nother thing that I'm not sure he wants the Olympics to be his first go of that.
Yeah. And then on the mental aspect too, like besides just coming back from an injury, if he goes back, it's like the last time you played in something like this, you got injured and then had a really, really bad infection that left you hospitalized. Do you then want to immediately go back for that? So it's mentally preparing for like big stage, something, you know, whole USA, Canada all over again with everything, and then just also coming back from another injury.
Did I see that they're keeping the same medical staff for the Olympics too?
Are they?
Probably.
I want to say I saw that already announced that they're keeping the same medical staff, which is crazy. They should have been fired.
How do you keep them?
3
How
years
do
ago.
you keep them?
I don't get it. But I wonder, I wonder if there's like some like PTSD that he'll have from Four Nations last year. That like, I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's terrifying. The entire situation is terrifying. I hate all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is time, friends, for a little thing that we call predictions. So if this is your first episode, every single week we like to do this thing we call weekly predictions, where we look at the upcoming week of games and we take a very wild guess at who is going to win the game and what the score is going to be. Sometimes they're like right on par. Sometimes we're entirely completely off. Sometimes we say random things that end up happening, like Mason Lowry scoring last year. You never know. If he scores this week, it'd be a miracle because boy can't even find a stick some days. So we have a few games coming up. Seamus is going to join us in our predictions this week. And we start this week on Wednesday, 7 p.m. game against the Islanders at the Islanders. The Bruins currently are 13-11. The Islanders are 13-8-2. What do you guys think?
I'm shooting from the hip. My gut first score that popped into my head was 4-1. I'm going to go Bruins 4-1.
I like it. Liz, what do you got?
I'm going 3-1
I don't know how I
Bruins
feel about this.
because, again, as I've said every other time we have now played the Islanders, because this is our final meeting for the season with them, I can't pick the Islanders to win.
Crazy.
We've won
How
both
is
of
it
our games
already our
against
final
them
game against
because we played them October 28th and we won 5-2, and then we beat them in a shootout on the 4th, 4-3.
That's crazy that we are already done with the team. Wow. Okay. Sorry. Sticker shock. So Bruins 4-1, Bruins 3-1. Our power play percentage, like just looking at these stats next to each other, our power play percentage is 25.6. Theirs is 13.3. But then our
They're
penalty
fast.
minutes is 308, and theirs is 245. What are we doing? Anyway.
Oh, they're right above us
I'm
on the
gonna
penalty
go-
kill.
I'm going to go an overtime win for the Bruins. I don't like this. 3-2. I don't know how I feel about that one. It's fine. It's already out there. It's in the ether. Okay, that's Wednesday. Friday, we've got a 1 o'clock game.
We know how
Always
you feel
fun.
about those.
I hate matinee games. So we are home. The Rangers are coming to town. The Rangers are currently 11-11-2. Panarin only has 20 points. Fox has 16 assists. That's crazy. Oh,
I'm gonna go Bruins with another win. And since when this segment was presented to me that it can be a little crazy and kind of go
Yep.
wild with it and have some fun with it,
Yep.
I'm gonna go 4-2, and I'm gonna make an outrageous prediction.
Ooh.
I'm going to go 4-2, and the fourth goal will be a goalie goal.
Oh,
I like it. Okay.
I'm here for this.
I want another goalie goal, so I will take that.
The Black Friday matinee, finally, the Bruins get it back, even though they invented it, and then the NHL was like, oh, this is fun. Let's take it away from them.
Yeah.
So it's not on Nesson like it used to be. It's a TNT game. So it's a national game, and in front of the country, goalie goal.
Something weird. I love it. I'm here for it. Oh, I love a weird prediction. Their penalty kill percentage is 78%. They've had 4 of their last 5 games were losses. I feel like that means they're due for a win. I mean, they just beat St. Louis, but I'm going to say the Rangers win. Oh, I hate this. Because I just hate matinees. I think we either show up to a matinee or it's like, did anybody want to play today? Did anybody step on the ice? Like, there is no in between.
Afternoon game.
Yeah, think of that.
4-1 Rangers.
That Tampa Bay matinee game that was on whatever the Monday was, and they were down 2-0 like before you could even get comfortable watching.
Yes, I'm like, did we want to? Did you guys wake up this morning? Did you come to work yet? Are you here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4-1.
And then
Rangers.
they show up in the third. Like they won't start, and then suddenly the third hits, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the hockey.
Oh, we're here.
There's a game. I thought we were skating for fun."
Yeah, oh, that's funny.
I'm gonna go a bit crazy. I think 2-0 Boston.
Okay. I love how none of us had normal predictions for this one. This is great. I love it. I'm here for it. Who's in net? Corpy will be in net.
Sway, maybe?
No, Sway is probably in net against the Rangers.
That's what I would think. But I could be wrong.
Well, because they do. So it's what, Wednesday, then Thanksgiving, then day after Thanksgiving, then they're back at it again on Saturday, right?
Back on Saturday.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have Corky play against Detroit and Sway against the Rangers because it's a back-to-back.
Yeah, probably. I don't think they'd put Corpy against the Rangers. I think he would definitely play against the Red Wings. We'll find out. Who knows? So to that, Saturday we play at home again, 2 days in a row at home. 7:00 against the Red Wings. The Red Wings are currently 13-9-1. As a reminder, we're 13-11. So Liz, at least it's at 24 hours this time.
Woo! We have a 24. Is this our first 24-hour like actual difference between back-to-backs?
Yeah, they get more than 24 hours. They get 20, 30-ish hours.
This makes up for like the 22-hour one that they gave us like 3 weeks ago or whatever it was. That I was like, that's not allowed. Should be a minimum of 24 hours between start times in a back-to-back. Yeah,
the NHL scheduling, we did a rant on this when we did a Bruins show on Winded Podcast. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason to it where they could have the, all 32 teams play on a whatever Tuesday night that they did that they, the Frozen Frenzy, and they feature that. And then they'll have a night where there's no other sports on and they don't even bother to put anything on. There'll just be 0 games.
Mm-hmm.
Once hockey season starts, there shouldn't be a single, unless, Thanksgiving, whatever, Christmas, whatever.
Yeah.
Any other day, there should be at least 1 game on every single night. It's insane the way they do this.
Yeah, we have 32 teams. You have 16 possibilities. You also want to add like 5 more teams or something, but you can't get the scheduling right for 32 teams. How are we going to add more to this? You're also adding 2 games per team next season, but like we can't figure out how to do it currently in a way that makes sense for anybody. But okay. Sounds great, guys. Glad you're getting your
I
money.
swear, they throw like darts at a dartboard, but it's just times, and they're like, "Oh, this is the time of the game. We randomly chose like threw a dart, blindfolded. Oh, 2:00 game. Oh, here's your random like 6:45 game. Oh, no one's playing this day because we didn't pick it."
Well, and then it's like, okay, we've already had our games against the Islanders as of Wednesday. We'll be done with the Islanders. We don't even see some teams until like February for the first time. And we've had 2 West Coast trips already this early in the season. Like, what? Anyway.
And we finished playing all 4 games against Ottawa next month.
That's crazy.
Do you guys remember there used to be for Major League Baseball, there was a married couple that they wrote the schedule for Major League Baseball by hand I just looked it up because I remember the story, but from 1982 to 2004, Henry and Holly Stevenson manually created the MLB schedule by hand. And it was just, I don't know how they got the job, but they did it before computers, and they were never, they would factor in certain human error kind of things that, like human element to it. So there was more, it was a better schedule for the people. There was more consideration put into it than just the, generic computer schedule that all the leagues use now. Yeah. But I always thought that was interesting that it was just, oh, honey, we got to build the MLB schedule tonight for the whole league. But yeah, I just thought that was.
No, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I love that.
As a
somebody sign me up.
Sign all of us up. That's our job now.
Wouldn't that be? Imagine that. And I remember seeing. I think it was like they did a special on ESPN one day talking about it, and they just had like all these notebooks, and they had all these different calendars, and they just spent however long it took them to write out by hand all 162 games for all whatever 30 teams there are in MLB, which unreal that they just tasked it to two random people.
I love it. Hey, NHL, I want that job in addition to my education programming job that I want to do for y'all so that your players are actually knowledgeable about the world. Sign me up for both of them.
Good stuff.
Sign me up. I got notebooks. I have
you guys could do it. You guys could do it.
Yeah. We play the Red Wings this weekend, and then we also play them next week. We go to Detroit on Tuesday. I don't know what day this is.
Tuesday.
Those are big games. They were at the top of the division before tonight's games.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're right there though. That's who you're competing with.
Yeah.
I can't believe Toronto. I mean, I love to see it, but I just can't believe how bad they are.
They're so bad. After
awful.
Being so good last year, they're so awful. And it can't just be losing Mitch Marner. Like,
no.
Mm-mm.
That Carlo trade looks better and better.
Yep.
Well, they have 5 guys injured right now, I want to say it is.
The injuries this season, just in general, are crazy.
Yeah.
There's
too many.
I don't know what juju somebody did, what Etsy witch somebody paid for like all NHL to be cursed. But the injuries this season are like Hellebuck is out until 4 to 6 weeks. He's hopefully coming back for the Olympics too, to talk about like guys hopefully coming back for the Olympics. Connor Hellebuck is out until potentially then. Like, what the hell? We need him. I need him to come back. That'd be interesting. Anyway.
Well, like Carlo's injured. He's out. There's a few guys, I think, for Utah that are out right now. Florida has a few. Like, every team just has a few guys that are like, oh, they're out.
Yeah. To go back to Detroit, Cam Talbot has 9 wins so far this season. Dude's on a roll. .266 goals against average. Save percentage 899. killing it, man. What could have been? I think we win. I'm not confident in that. I think Detroit might actually win, but I'm gonna say us. Unless Cam Talbot's in the net, then we're gonna lose. But I'm gonna say that we win. I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna go 2-1. We're gonna keep it low expectations here.
Yeah, so my initial thought was I wasn't going to pick them to go 3-0. I'm kind of painting myself in a corner now. At first, I thought I was going to pick Detroit, thinking, the Bruins are playing back-to-back, but,
Yeah.
the schedule makers like to have fun, and the Red Wings are also playing the night before.
Oh, that makes me feel better.
Or they also have a matinee on Friday, and they play Tampa. So they have to travel from Detroit to Boston after playing. So that might be just enough to give the Bruins an edge in a game that would be huge to kind of leapfrog them in the standings. So I'm going to take the Bruins I'll take an overtime game for that one, 3-2.
I like it. Liz, what do you got?
I was initially thinking 2-1. I had that thought, and then it changed.
Oh.
So I think it's going to be a game we should win, or at least get a point out of, but we're not. And we're going to lose 4-2. But it's going to happen at the end.
Oh.
Tied game, we let in a really crappy goal with a few minutes left, pull the goalie, they get the empty netter for 4. It should be a game where we at least walk away with a point, but we're not going to.
You do have this theory that anytime we should win, we end up losing.
Mm-hmm.
That's Bruins hockey.
We love it. Well, Seamus, thank you so much for being on with us tonight. Where can the people find you? It's on the screen, but where can people find you?
Yes. So TikTok, I've been slacking lately, but I do morning after Bruins recaps. I drink coffee. I talk about the game the night before, usually about a minute. So those are on TikTok. Follow the podcast Instagram page at Winded Pod. And Twitter, I've been slacking, but I'm ramping up on Twitter. This is kind of giving me that, talking to you guys is giving me that itch to get back on Twitter and start tweeting at Seamus P. Sullivan. And the Winded Podcast you can find on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Like I said, some interviews of random kind of whenever those come up. But look for usually Friday mornings, we put out the Brothers Parlay, talk about the football weekend coming up, mix in some Bruins talk and really anything else that's going on. So please give that a follow as well.
I love it. And where is it that you write again?
Yes, thank you. Causeway Crowd, I write about the Bruins. And then coming up, I also write for high school hockey. So I work for Hockey Night in Boston. So I cover the D3 boys high school hockey in Massachusetts. And then I also cover all of Rhode Island. So if you're interested in high school hockey, give Hockey Night in Boston a follow. That's at hockey.night on Instagram. Lot of characters in high school hockey at all levels. And I love talking. The high school girls have the biggest personalities because they don't, use the cookie cutter, cliche boys hockey talk. They talk like their actual personalities. So, check out Hockey Night in Boston. Some really talented hockey in the area. So definitely check that out.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much. Like we mentioned at the top of it, we've got the new partnership with Just Strong. So one more time, Just Strong is a women's athleisure brand. We absolutely love their stuff. So Pucks 103975 for 10% off your order. If you want to join our Discord, we talk about trading cards, we talk about books, and we talk about hockey. Feel free to send us a message. We'll get you into our Discord. Follow us on social media. You can find us at Pucks and PP's Pod. You can find Boston Sports Entertainment Network at BSEN_617 on Twitter and Instagram. Add an extra underscore at the beginning for TikTok. We post highlights for all Boston sports the four main Boston sports. So Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, and Bruins. Go find all of our other podcast friends. Links are in the BSEN Twitter to all of the friends. Other than that, my name's Emily. You can find me at HyperEmmy, wherever your little heart desires podcast desires to social media. Why can't I never get through an intro or outro? Liz, where can people find you?
You can find me at Liz__Fraser.
Perfect. And we will be back next Monday with more chaos. Make sure that you follow Seamus. Make sure that you follow the podcast on Apple and Spotify and all of the other places. We've got some fun things coming up soon, so be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye!